Dirkens here. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Obviously, this was not planned, or else I would actually, I'd actually know something I should have taken to the police. No, I woke up early this morning. Flipped my phone over, just to see, what time it was. And instead of seeing the time, I had a notification on my phone that the leading returning wide receiver for Georgia, Jeremiah J.J. Holloman, had been dismissed from the football team. And then I couldn't help but stop and then lay my phone back down and go to sleep. And the reason why was because I was sleepy, and I knew that I needed more sleep before I read up on what was going on. Then I woke up this morning, I looked, and it was for assault that allegedly went on in last year, right? And they kicked him off the football team. Now I'm going to tell you right now, you just don't go and kick off your football players if there is still questions, all right? I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't understand why people would just start doing what he allegedly had, which they said he was not. I'm being very careful right here, okay? I'm gonna be careful, but for them to kick you off football team, they pretty much know that you did it, right? He was a leading wide receiver for Georgia. I know that they have Pickens coming in. That was a big pickup for them. I think they got that Blaylock kid. And they got some players who was sitting on the bench behind them. We know Hardman's gone. Tried to get him to come play at Clemson. He said he'd rather go to Georgia and get this close to winning a national championship, but he'd rather not win one. He'd rather go to Georgia. But he's gone. A team that has a quarterback who has a lot of questions. When you have a quarterback who he has the ability, but he ain't getting the ball to the receivers, the more good people you get around him, that means the more open they can possibly get. And what happens is he gets the chance to throw the ball a little more than getting sacked, like what happened a lot last year. But now he's gone. And you got players who've been sitting behind him, may not be bad football players, but they were not the starting quality, right? And they wasn't the starting quality, right? And you got these kids who's come right out of high school, might be number one recruit in the country, but they don't have real game time experience. And I'm gonna set this up and honor the flag back here and tell you a little bit about Clemson. Everybody sees T. Higgins as the threat that he is, but T. Higgins, and I'm showing you that's how this works. T. Higgins actually, he got to show a little more of his talent, because when he first got there, he had Mike Williams on the other side, and he had Hunter Renfro there, Jordan Leggett, right? I believe that was it. I think Ole Bobby's losing his mind. Anyway, the point is, when you have more people who has game time experience, right? Game time experience around you, you get to shine a little more. So now, when George Pickens walks on the field, everybody knows they're going to Pickens. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you what's going to happen right now. Early on in the season, Pickens and a few others, they're going to have some really good catches against Vanderbilt. And then all of a sudden, the announcers are going to go, it looks like they're not meeting. They're not missing a beat with this team. DeAndre just called me out here. He said, yeah, you're wrong. Thanks, DeAndre. I couldn't remember right there. My coffee hadn't kicked in. The point is, when you have made out all of you, George, and a ton of you, good to see all of you. Made out all of you. Doing a live stream for some of you who don't know. This is my live stream. But I'm going to get to the point here. When you have that talent, and Justin Ross, he actually benefited from it last year. Everybody knew about T. Higgins. Everybody knew Hunter Renfro was there. Guess what happens? Everybody starts focusing on the players who's returning, and it helps the players, right? It helps the players who are good, but it opens up for them. That's right, Deion Kane, yeah. So Georgia has lost that. But I'm telling you, those announcers are going to be, Georgia's going to burn like Vanderbilt and put up some really good receiving numbers against them and a couple of teams. And those announcers in their suits and everything, they're just looking for something to say. They're going to be like, Georgia's not missing a beat. And then you're going to get some Georgia fans who's going to be all fired up. And see, we didn't need him. And then they're going to play the teams who you're going to need him against. Now, I'm not saying he should be on the team. If he went and he did what they said he did, should be off the team. That's not even a question. But the second title of this video, and this live stream, is What's Going On at Georgia? What's going on at Georgia? A couple of weeks ago, I ticked off a couple of people in the Georgia community. I have respect for Georgia. I've always had respect for Georgia. Georgia is the closest major football school to Clemson. Closest major one. Hey, Bobby, ain't South Carolina a few miles closer? I said major football. Like they actually do something. And same for Georgia. Don't mention Georgia Tech. I know they're closer, but I said, actually, they make an impact. They mean something in college football. What's going on at Georgia? I said this a couple of weeks ago and I pissed off somebody. I said, over the past 15 years, and I was using that because it was a stat that I found, because I want to know how good they've been recruiting for years. Because when the first thing you talk to Georgia fans, what's the first thing they say year after year? Did you see how good we recruited? Boy, we're going to be running everybody out of here. That's been going on for years now. Georgia, you've been recruiting. Your average rank over the past 15 years is like 7. What does that mean? Pissed away a lot of talent. While Clemson wasn't doing it, and even while Bama wasn't doing it, and teams like Southern Cal has come and gone, they ain't even good anymore. You've still been recruiting at a high level. And I ticked off somebody when I said for the past 15 years they've been doing it. And they said, that's that other coach. Forget him. It has no bearing on this. What about Clemson? Well, here's the difference between Clemson. We've won 2 national championships in the past 2 years. How many of you won? Oh, 1980. So, I mean, it's easy to talk. I've been pulling for Clemson when Georgia would pound them. But y'all still pissed away talent. Next, okay, Kirby's first season, that doesn't even count. He was cleaning up a mess. I mean, good grief, Saban's first season was a mess. Because he's having to clean up crap. What, was it 6 and 7, something like that? I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Second season, Kirby did an incredible job. Now, he had incredible players, but he used his talent. Last year was a bit of a letdown. But you still end up in Sugar Bowl. Right? Right? But there's this underlying fear, whether people knows it or not, that Georgia fans are sitting there going, oh, it ain't happening again. Kirby's different. It ain't happening again. And then, more shades of the past. So you got your good recruiting, which you've had for years. You got the letdown of a season last year. It could happen to any of us. Okay, all right. But you got your players who continue to get in trouble. Now that happened during Mark Richt's run for years. I know Clemson has had their troubles. But I'm telling you, Georgia's really notorious for it. Bad. I mean, it's not like 1 or 2 players getting in trouble. It's like a bunch of them. Earlier this year, had 2 players got arrested for marijuana possession. Now, I know some of you about to go on your marijuana rant and how stupid it is and how it's messing up the penal system. How ridiculous. Here's how this works. You get to play football at Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio State, places like that. All right? None of us, I'm pretty confident, who will even watch this video, unless you're a former player, and I doubt it. All right? Will have the ability or the opportunity to do that. Right? I didn't. Guarantee you didn't. So, these young men trade what really nobody has the chance to do for something that basically anybody can do. With no ability, no talent. They'll trade being worshipped, having the best looking girls in the world worship their feet. Chance at the NFL. And even if they don't make it, they could come back and make killer money coaching just so they can smoke a joint with everybody else. You told me today, Bobby Dirkens, you give up beer and you get to play for Clemson for the next 4 years and you can drink beer after that. I'd never touch another drop because I'd love to play at Clemson. Get rid of ice cream, Bobby. I wouldn't even touch dairy. I'm just being honest here. I know people mess up. Lord, I've got, like you wouldn't believe, like, but you can't, you're blowing these opportunities that nobody gets an opportunity at. Treating it like it's just, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Playing football at one of the top 5 schools in the country and possibly making it to the NFL and making more money. Let me give you a little math in that. I'm not a big math guy. Let's just say you make $50,000 a year. All right? $50,000 a year. Takes 10 years to make $500,000. Takes 20 years to make $1 million. 20 years. $1 million. And there's some of these guys in the NFL who they barely see the field, and they make a couple million a year. So here they are standing on the sidelines, being paid to work out, they're scratching themselves, doing basically nothing but running, working out. I know it's hard work, but think about how much they're being paid. It took you, if you made 50 grand a year, took you 20 years to make half of what they made in one. They blow it all away. So they can get hired, they can punch a girl in the face, and go get hammered drunk, and go do something absolutely stupid. Now look, if you get caught drinking, you get caught smoking weed or something like that, I don't think you should be thrown off a football team. I'm sorry, I just don't. You get slap on the hand, say, put the joint out, move on. Go and punch grandma in the face, you're off the team. I mean, I'm just being honest. What's going on at Georgia? Same old tactics. So many players in the offseason in trouble. In trouble. Gone. Or just in trouble. There's a lot of, for people looking on the outside looking in. Now, I know Georgia fans going to get mad at me. I said, Georgia, you have the best ability. You have the talent, the ability, the tradition, the coaching, and everything better than anybody right now to actually make a run with Clemson and Alabama. To break it up. If y'all are sick and tired of seeing Alabama versus Clemson in the national championship, Georgia, you're the team to do it, to fix it. But on the outside looking in, we also see this. You boys look a lot of this. You look so much like you have over the past 15 years, except you're winning a little more. Got to the national championship. But you've been recruiting great for years. That's no big deal. Stop telling us how good you recruit. We know. We're all scratching our head going, they should have like a couple of national championships or two. Here's my point. With stuff like this going on, it looks like an old Georgia to me. It looks like an old Georgia to me. And it looks like the old Georgia for anybody who's being, this new word I learned, objective. I mean, we're what? month or two, or we're 2 months out from the season starting, roughly. And this happens? At least y'all have some time to prepare. Clemson could do something stupid tomorrow. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's just the only thing is, Georgia, I mean not Georgia, but Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and then whoever fill in the blank after that, because they just all start to run together. Everybody who thinks they're good, but they're not. They're not bad, but they're not great. They're not top 10. It just looks the same, guys. I mean, I'm serious. These guys too, they have their trouble with some players here and there. You guys are constantly doing this for the past, years. I don't get it. So, what's the problem at Georgia? What is it? What is the problem at Georgia? Is it the player you're recruiting? Is it, what is it? Because I'm sitting here scratching my head going, great recruiting, can't win a national championship. Can't even win their conference. You can win the East. I mean, ACC is trash. So is the SEC East. Look at it. It's held together by duct tape, second-hand coaches, probably some painkillers. I don't know. Well, listen, I'm going to get off of here. If y'all figure out what's wrong with Georgia, that's fine with me. Go ahead. Try to be civil. If you can't, just remember, I'll delete it. I don't care. Hit the subscribe button. If you watched this entire thing, you saw it at the beginning. If you didn't, hit the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Listen, I'm Bobby Dirkens. Lord, I need to go to sleep some more. I'm Bobby Dirkens. You keep showing up. I'll keep showing out. Bobby Dirkens.